Broadcasting live from the Just Call Jed studios. Injured? Call Jed.com. This is the official voice of the Buffalo Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550. The official voice of the Buffalo Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550 and WGR550.com. This is a Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update.
A comeback win for the ages for the Buffalo Bills. They were down by 15 with minutes to go. They come back to beat the Baltimore Ravens last night by a final score of 41-40. A game-winning field goal by Matt Prater in his first game as a Buffalo Bill gives the Bills the win. We'll be talking about it all throughout the morning here on WGR. It's Buffalo Bills Football Monday, brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. Josh Allen ends up on the day with 394 yards passing, also 2 touchdowns and then two rushing touchdowns as well. So statistically, one of Allen's best games also. Bills beat the Ravens. They go to 1-0. Elsewhere around the NFL, a loaded Sunday for the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers win over Seattle 17-13. They lose George Kittle to a hamstring injury. No word yet on how long he could be out. The Cincinnati Bengals survive the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals had 7 yards in the second half, but they still won the game by 1 point. Pittsburgh and the Jets end up going back and forth offensively. Pittsburgh wins 34-32. The Dolphins had about as bad a week one as you can imagine. They lose to Daniel Jones and the Colts 33-8. Jones and the Colts scored on every drive that they had on the day. The Raiders go to New England and down the Patriots 20-13. Monday Night Football tonight. NFC North battle, the Vikings and the Bears, 8:15 kickoff. We'll have that game right here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership.
It's all Bills, all day. Buffalo Bills Football Monday on the home of the Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550. Brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com.
Back to pass, plenty of time. Looking down the right sideline for Hopkins, who pulls it in one-handed for the touchdown. Jackson under center, I formation. Handoff goes to Henry through a hole on the left side into the secondary, and he's down the sideline, and he just out-angled Taylor Rapp, and it is a touchdown.
Don't call it a comeback.
Allen has time. Now pressure coming from Van Noy. Throws, it's high, and it's caught in the end zone by Keon Coleman. It may have been intended for Dawson Knox, but Coleman's the one that ends up with it. Gonna hand it off to Henry, and he's bottled up. The ball is out. It's loose. Who's got the football? It's Buffalo ball. Here's the snap. 4-man rush. Allen back to pass. Looking over the middle. He's got Hawes, who pulls it in and is down to the 1-yard line. And Allen reaches over the goal line, and he is in. Allen fires down the left side. He's got Palmer at the 40 and out of bounds at the 40-35 in Baltimore territory. Down to 3 seconds. Here's the snap. Hold is down. Kick on the way. And it is good. And Matt Prater, in his first game as a Buffalo Bill, has won the ball game here in week 1. The Bills were down by 15 in the fourth quarter. They come all the way back to win the game at the gun with a 32-yard field goal for a 41-40 victory.
You're listening to Jeremy and Joe on the home of the Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550.
Well, the final season opener at Highmark Stadium will not be forgotten by anybody that watched it. Happy Buffalo Bills Football Monday. Happy Victory Monday. You might have been celebrating Victory Monday on the drive home because it was a late night. Jeremy and Joe, good morning, everybody. Buffalo Bills Football Monday is brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com.
For many, it was a late night.
Yes.
Not for everybody. It wasn't a late night.
That's right. Some went to bed.
That's right.
You went to bed?
No.
Okay.
No, I did not.
I feel like we're not allowed to.
No. I leave at halftime to make sure I don't get stuck there until 2 o'clock in the morning, knowing I got to get up for the show the next morning.
Right.
So I left at halftime. But after that game, I'm sitting in bed like, I'm not sleeping right now. I was wired. So I went down and played a quick game of NCAA football, just destroyed some hapless soul at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's after the win? You were too wired after the win?
After the win, yeah. Just went downstairs, did that, went back up, went to bed. Listened to Josh Allen talk, Sean McDermott a little bit as well, which is what I'm sure many did in their cars. So yeah, I got to bed eventually.
One thing about this game, there's a million things, and our phone lines are open at 803-0550 here on a Bills Football Monday. You know, when they win a game, sometimes people will have a complaint or something to say, and it'll be a situation where someone hears a person complaining and says, "What are you guys worried about? They won the game." This is a game where there's not a soul alive that didn't complain along the way. There's not your most hardcore Bills fan that doesn't want to talk about, this not being good or this not being good, was ready to fire somebody at 41-25 or maybe at 17-7. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a game that tested everyone, and they win it. And if you're Baltimore, you know what you're thinking if you're Baltimore? You know what that looked like, by the way, everybody? Yeah. That was a Chiefs win. That was a what?
Yeah.
They won that game. Mm-hmm. The other team, their brains melted, and the Bills won this game. Mm-hmm. It bounces off of Dawson Knox into a diving Keon Coleman's arms. They missed an extra point. What? Mm-hmm. Who fumbled? Derrick Henry on the way to a career day, maybe 500 yards. He fumbled, and they win.
They miss an extra point along the way. Also, if they don't miss an extra point, I mean, the Bills, miss some 2-point conversions, and I've got a lot to say about that eventually. But the extra point is why they don't get overtime.
That's right. I'm so excited that we don't have to talk about 2-point conversion, not just execution, but decisions the whole day. Felt like they would have lost the game if they don't get the ball back and the Ravens run out the clock. It's, they lost by 2 points and they missed 3 2-point conversions. It would have been just like nonstop 2-point conversion talk. Mm-hmm. Instead, what? What do you say? I mean, Josh Allen carries them, engineers a comeback win, rushes for 2 touchdowns, throws for 2 touchdowns. Lamar throws for 2 touchdowns. Lamar runs all over them. Henry runs all over them. I mean, it was a show. And getting home and watching the second half like you did, I also did, on the television, the Bills are getting destroyed. And Collinsworth's talking about it like it's a great game. I'm thinking, this is not a great game. This is a beatdown, and the Bills are...
Yeah.
You know what it looked like? It was like last year's Bills-Lions game, where the one team was out too far in front, and the trailing team was not supposed to ever be able to catch up. Mm-hmm. But they did. And they won. What do you say?
Josh Allen, man.
Josh Allen,
right? There's some luck along the way. I think the Ravens made some mistakes. I think I saw a lot on Twitter last night that Ravens fans are after Harbaugh because he does this all the time. There are stats about how often this happens. It happens to the Ravens more than it happens to anybody, that they lose this way. I mean, there's more fun things about the Bills to get to, but what are you doing punting that football on 4th and 2?
I know.
You've got the most elusive quarterback in the history of the sport. Like, was not every Bills fan, the moment that punter came onto the field to give them a chance to drive down the field and kick a field goal, instead of going for it on 4th and 2, where even like they debated on the broadcast, Chris Collinsworth was on the broadcast saying, I think you go for this. I mean, the color analyst on a national football broadcast was like, go for it. In his own territory, the reason why you wouldn't, I guess, and why they didn't, is the Bills are in field goal range if you do not get it.
All the more reason to go for it. But actually, it's all the more reason to go for it if you're Baltimore, because your enemy, there's 133 left. Your enemy is not just the field goal, it's that they need to use more clock to get the field goal.
Right.
You'd love them to only need 38 yards.
Yeah.
Because then you can stop. All right, we'll get another chance maybe. Of course they should have gone for that.
And again, like, the real point, though, is everybody, I would think, everybody in the stadium when the punter came on the field had sigh of relief. Thank you. Thank you for not. That's how I felt.
Yep.
I felt they're punting. Yes, like amazing that they're punting. And if the opponent is like cheering when your punter comes on the field, you know you've made the wrong decision.
Not just a sigh of relief. You probably sat up in your chair and thought, I'm about to watch my team win this game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is there any doubt they're going to get in range? They're going to stop Josh Allen, giving him 4 downs and the license to, we'll take my first snarky shot here, not throw screens all day. He's going to actually try to win the game.
Right.
He's going to go down the field. He's going to run. He's going to throw. And sure enough, like that's what happened.
And not to make this all about the Ravens, but like there's that mistake. And then I don't know how much this has been brought up or if anybody has brought it up. The Bills don't have any timeouts. Keon Coleman, they're showing ESPN right now. He gets tripped up, right? Like one, not on that corner, like to know like hey, it's probably good to let him score at that point, but good that Coleman doesn't score.
Of course.
But now the clock's ticking. And what is there? 35 seconds on the clock, and the Bills don't have any timeouts. You can't stop the clock. You know you cannot. You have 3 timeouts, and they have you'll call a timeout. You have 2 timeouts. They'll have 3 plays. You can't stop the Bills from running the clock down. So at that point, all you're doing by calling timeout is giving the Bills time to get organized and figure out what they're supposed to do here. Mm-hmm. Why call timeout? Make them go to the line of scrimmage and have Allen have to figure it out in the huddle. So again, like just little things like that where that happened on the other side. McDermott would be getting lambasted this morning. He did not do that last night. Not to say that their defense was great and, you said if they shut him down, he deserves his flowers. They didn't do that.
They did not do that.
But the coach on the other side made way more mistakes last night than the Bills coach did. Mm-hmm. Way more mistakes.
803-0550. So much to get to. Derrick Henry ran through the Bills like a hot knife through butter. It was no contest for him until he fumbled. The Bills' defense did what it did a lot last year, which is, it actually looked much, much worse, but made 2 plays, 3 plays when they needed it. Bosa poking out a fumble on Justice Hill. That keeps 1 drive to 3 instead of 7.
Yep.
The fumble for Henry, of course, another one.
3 plays were at it. Did Ed Oliver end 3 drives himself?
Oliver was amazing the whole night.
That's the Ed Oliver game.
Yep.
That's the best game he's ever played as a Bill.
Yeah. And they gave up 40.
I tweeted that last night. Like, is it possible that Derrick Henry had his best game ever against the Bills while Ed Oliver also had his best game as a Bill at the same time? Because I think that's what happened last night.
Mm-hmm. We'll get some calls in and your reactions to, all of it. They won the game. It's hilarious.
We just have to say it enough times today. Like they won that game.
Yeah,
they won that game. There's many people. I think my dad might be one of these people. I don't know that don't know right now they won the game.
You're still asleep.
They're asleep, thinking they lost.
Yeah,
think that would be a few people. A few people.
Yeah. Good morning. The Bills won the game.
Sports Radio 550 WGR Buffalo and WKSE HD2 Niagara Falls, Buffalo, 98.5 FM.
An Audacy sports station.
Broadcasting live from the Just Call Jed studios. Injured? Call Jed.com. This is the official voice of the Buffalo Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550. It's all Bills, all day. Buffalo Bills Football Monday on the home of the Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550. Brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com.
Allen has time. Now pressure coming from Van Noy. Throws, it's high, and it's caught in the end zone by Keon Coleman. It may have been intended for Dawson Knox, but Coleman's the one that ends up with it. Gonna hand it off to Henry, and he's bottled up. The ball is out. It's loose. Who's got the football? It's Buffalo ball at the Baltimore 30-yard line. Terrell Bernard.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Here's the snap. 4-man rush. Allen back to pass. Looking over the middle. He's got Hawes, who pulls it in and is down to the 1-yard line. And Allen reaches over the goal line, and he is in. Fires down the left side. He's got Palmer at the 40 and out of bounds at the 40-35 in Baltimore territory. Down to 3 seconds. Here's the snap. Hold is down. Kick on the way. And it is good. And Matt Prater, in his first game as a Buffalo Bill, has won the ball game here in week 1. The Bills were down by 15. In the fourth quarter, they come all the way back to win the game at the gun with a 32-yard field goal for a 41-40 victory. Inject it into my veins at 10:03 a.m. after a night that so many of you might not have slept at all. Maybe a couple hours. If you're like me, I got 3. I got 3 hours in last night. In bed at 3:45, up at 6:45, still kind of foggy on what the hell I just watched. Unbelievable. What a comeback. What a game. What a way to close out the final home opener ever at Highmark Stadium. Absolutely incredible. Here we go. It is the first Monday, Buffalo Football Monday, reaction Northtown Automotive Extra Point show here on WGR. And I'll tell you right now, it's all brought to you by Catholic Health. The right way to care. And by Northwest Bank for what's next. Get started at northwest.com. And by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. If you are new to the Monday reaction show, it is just you and me, baby. You call, I listen. We comment. You can question, you can comment. We can agree, we can disagree. But that's all it is. I don't do interviews on Monday. I'm taking phone calls. It's a reaction show. I want to hear from you. I'll have what I have to say as we go along, but this show is about you every Monday. Or maybe it's like a Friday after a Thursday night game. You get the point. This show is about you and what you have to say. Good, bad, and different. The only thing I ask, and I've done this for many years, and I think we've done a great job of this, and I appreciate all of you. The only thing I ask, okay? 2 things, really. First, be respectful when you call up. Either way, back and forth. I try to do the same for you. You know what I mean by that. But the second thing is, let's just try to at least keep it in a certain spot where not everything, every week, this is a big picture thing, not just today. When the Bills lose, it doesn't have to be fire everybody and everybody stinks and cut everybody. When they win, it doesn't have to be they're going to win the Super Bowl and start throwing the parade right now. But yesterday, I might have to throw that out because you're so jacked up and I'm jacked up and you can hear it and we're all excited because that was unfreaking believable. 41-40, the Bills. I mean, how many ways can we talk about the improbability and the stats of what happened last night? It's pretty incredible. And by the way, new this year on the Monday Extra Point Show, I just wanted to make sure I got this out there. I am on the YouTube stream. Our WGR YouTube page, I am on the YouTube stream. We're not normally on during this time slot on YouTube. This show every Monday has always been on Facebook, and we still are. We are at the WGR Facebook page, facebook.com/WGR550, but also on YouTube. So go check it out. Go to WGR550 on the YouTube stream, and we got what we call the bullpen, your live chats. Go on in there, have fun with each other, talking about the game, and listen to me, and give a call. 803-0550 is the telephone number to call. And last night, after the game, Matt Bove and I decided to go live at 1:30 in the morning for an Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast. We had over 4,000 live viewers show up, Josh, at 1:30 in the morning. By the time we got to 2, we ended at 2. We had over 4,000 live viewers at one point.
Nobody else could go to bed.
I'm not going to bed.
Nobody could fall asleep either. Like everyone,
I know.
Everyone was just wired.
I know. So listen, I know you want to consume the content and you want to talk about it, so let's do that, all right? And the thing that I said to Matt when I started, and then the thing I said to Joe when I got in here today was, where do you start? I really don't know. But I guess the proper place to be would be to start at the end, right? I mean, that's what this game came down to. There's a lot of stuff that happened from the opening kick, which was a really good opening kickoff, to the last couple of minutes where this game
seemed like it just was not going to happen for the Bills because of so many different ways in which they did not perform well enough, on the defensive side especially. But really what happened in the final 5 minutes or so, I guess 6 minutes, that's the story of the game. The story of the game is how this game ended.
Get in on the conversation. Call, tweet, or text Schopp and the Bulldog this afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m. on WGR Sports Radio 550. The official voice of the Buffalo Bills, WGR Sports Radio 550 and WGR550.com. This is a Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update.
The Buffalo Bills are 1-0, and they get there in dramatic fashion. A 15-point comeback capped off with a game winner from Matt Prater. Bills quarterback Josh Allen had this to say on the win in the postgame.
It took everybody there. I'm just proud of our team for staying in it. No one on the sideline blinked. I mean, down 15 points with 5-6 minutes left, staying with it. Fans leaving, the stadium. You got to play this game for 60 minutes, and that's a really good outfit that we just played. And God willing, we take care of business how we're supposed to and how we think we will. It's probably a team we'll see again.
Allen was in MVP form last night, just under 400 yards passing, 4 total touchdowns. And within that, Allen also became the Bills' all-time leading rushing touchdown scorer after passing Thurman Thomas. No players did leave the game with injuries. We'll get a better look at that, though, heading into the week. Sean McDermott and the coordinators will meet with the media just about an hour starting at 4 p.m. And next up for Buffalo, on the road versus the Jets Sunday at 1 p.m. Week 1, though, we'll finish up with Monday Night Football tonight. Bears host the Vikings. Kickoff at 8:15. Our coverage right here on WGR will get underway at 7. The 49ers made some moves. Right tackle Colton McKivitz signs a 3-year, $45 million extension. $27 million of that is guaranteed. They also bring in wide receiver Kendrick Bourne on a 1-year deal. The Giants will continue to roll with Russell Wilson at quarterback against Dallas. Head coach Brian Daboll did confirm that today. And Chiefs head coach Andy Reid says wide receiver Xavier Worthy is considered day-to-day with a separated shoulder. Rehab and wearing a brace are the expectation, but surgery is still a possibility. And stream your local NFL games all season long, kicking off with a Week 2 matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets, starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $2.50 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Gonna hand it off to Henry, and he's bottled up. The ball is out. It's loose. Who's got the football? It's Buffalo ball at the Baltimore 30-yard line.
Pass off to our defense in the last 3 or 4 drives. Playing some big boy football. That's a really, really good offense. It's a really good team.
It's Mike Schopp.
Allen reaches over the goal line, and he is in. He went high side this time instead of low, and he punched it in for the 1-yard touchdown run.
Great win, and they're hard to come by. That locker room, man, they kept playing. Those guys and coaches kept coaching. Wasn't pretty at times, and got a lot to learn from this game, and it's always good that you can learn after a win than after a loss.
And the Bulldog.
Down to 3 seconds. Here's the snap. Hold is down. Kick on the way, and it is good. And Matt Prater, in his first game as a Buffalo Bill, has won the ball game here in Week 1. The Bills were down by 15 in the fourth quarter. They come all the way back to win the game at the gun.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Football Monday on WGR brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. What a first game for the stadiums last year. You know what was funny to me? I thought about this today. Last week, just kind of randomly like we do, I asked you, is there any Bills winning final score that would upset you? And you said no. And I'm like, 2-0. And you're like, no. Fine. Then I said 2-1. And this is funny too, struggled to explain how you can get 1 point, other than on an extra point, in a football game. And so I blew that. We almost had it last night. On the 2-point play that is at Hamilton, he intercepts the pass and laterals to Van Noy. and Van Noy comes out of the end zone and takes a knee, if he takes a knee in the end zone,
yeah,
I think that
would have been a point, but it would have been preceded by a touchdown. So it's still the part of the conversation I remember the most is that can you just get 1 point?
Yeah, that's how you could have gotten 1 point.
But it would have
after it was a 2-point play.
Right. So I wasn't going to have 1 as my score, is what I'm saying. I don't know that there's a way to have 1 as your score.
Well, anyway, I don't need to butcher it again. But what was funny to me is like, all right, what if last week in that conversation I would have said 41-40?
What? Yeah. Well, I mean, you could have, I suppose. I mean, you could have picked any score you want, 2-0, even 2-1.
From an entertainment standpoint, 41-40 is a home run.
Right. You would never be. I don't think. Maybe people are really mad about the defense out there.
I don't know about really mad, but you would be right to wonder what they are.
Be concerned, sure.
I mean, they got run over in this game.
Yes, they did.
And I mean, what's funny about last night, I mean, it might be a game we never forget if you stayed up, I guess. I mean, it's great matchup, opening night. It'll go down in the annals, this game. For most of it, how was your mood?
I was pretty sour.
You know? Like, man, all right, so a little bit of revenge on Baltimore's side. Oh, we know Derrick Henry can be a problem. You know Lamar can be a problem. And, like, they just could not, for the second game in a row against this team, they couldn't stop them at all.
I spent way more time than I would like during the fourth quarter prior to the Bills, getting the first touchdown and then the turnover and then thinking about what I was going to be saying about it. If they lose the game 40-25, whatever, whenever the score was there, or maybe it even gets worse than that before it's over, like how do you want to frame this? And I like to try to just watch the games and not be thinking about this as much. But when a game gets like that, that's where my mind goes. My mind goes like, how am I going to manage this, right? Like, what do I want to be heard saying about all of this? And so that was mostly what I was doing when the comeback started, was thinking about, long season, too bad Kansas City lost. You could have put this team down 0-1-2, but, long year, just get your boots on, schedule eases up, yada, yada. But and that inherently makes me feel depressed. If I'm thinking about that during a game, I'm pretty bummed out. So I was pretty bummed out for most of the second half of this game.
Well, you could say all that, but then really have the conversation about what their defense is going to be. I mean, that's the Ravens. And so I'm sure if they lose the game like that and we go hard at like this defense, this could be bad. This could be the first Bills one of these seasons where their defense is really down. And, that would have been met with a lot of, but it's Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And really, the outcome of the game is different, but the conversation is still there. Like just what that's going to be, but it's Baltimore. I mean, I don't know. We'll get to it. It's only Monday, but the Jets did kind of just do the same thing to Pittsburgh yesterday. They lost too, but
they ran for almost 200 yards.
They ran it easily through Pittsburgh. So anyway, that's not where we are. We've said it so many times, games like this, even without like the comeback piece, the Bills just do important little things, details, better than the Ravens do. And I thought there was something I made a note of right in the first quarter in this game, where the Bills get the opening kickoff. They start at about midfield or right at midfield, and they're driving, and they get to 3rd and 7. And a Baltimore lineman jumps, and Spencer Brown stands right up immediately, 5 free yards, 3rd and 2, and that's automatic for this team. Touchdown, right? Ultimately touchdown. Baltimore goes the other way, and they're driving, and a Bills linebacker, I forget who, shows blitz by sprinting to the line, but he stops at the line. Like, he might be trying to bait Baltimore into a false start, and just like, that's not going to be what happens every time. But like right away, compare and contrast, you've got one team that, Brown has to have that instinct. That's preparation. Like you wouldn't always want to jump. It's not always obvious to the officials or how soon is the snap coming where you might be like, it's too late. different things might be in your mind there. It might be interesting for Eric Wood, although he was a center and didn't have that particular, challenge. But still, like, on it right there, 5 free yards, ultimately a touchdown drive. And after, I don't remember what happened on the play that I mentioned when the Bills were on defense, but Jackson takes a big sack on that drive, and they end up kicking like a 52-yard field goal or something to score. So just the details. And of course, Baltimore has really made a habit of, for as good as they are, losing games like this. I mean, I think that's the big takeaway from last night overall in the league is like the Ravens again, like as good as, look how good they dominated.
Yeah.
And I mean, they didn't run that many plays because they were so efficient. Like, you can't blame them for that. It was more like the Chief playoff game here where it was just sort of like, kind of easy.
Yeah, I think I read that it's their 6th loss like that in maybe in the Jackson window. Whatever it is, it's like with some window of time here, the last 5 or 6 seasons, they've lost 6 games with that kind of a lead in the fourth quarter.
Win probability. Where their win probability is in the 90s or something like that. The Raider game a year or two ago, there's a pile of them.
Well, I bet a lot of fans have already said this amongst themselves, and maybe the morning show guys said it or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of talk by the time we get on the air here at 3 o'clock, but it's awfully nice to have a game that's being talked about already after only 1 week's worth of games, minus one that goes tonight between the Vikings and Bears, to have a game that is qualifying as game of the year worthy, and the Bills didn't lose it. Yeah. Because we had our fair, going all the way back to the divisional round in 21 in Kansas City. You've got the Eagle game from a couple of years ago. They've had these examples, Jefferson. Right? Justin Jefferson. These games that are just sort of, I cannot believe the ride this game is. What a game! Oh, you lost. So they at least got that going for them and for us too. So it's certainly a much different scenario than, if we'd been wildly entertained by a comeback that just falls short. Like somehow Kyle Hamilton actually gets his entire hand on that football, because I think he touched it. I don't know
field goal?
Yeah, I don't know if he talked about it after the game or was asked, but man, the first replay I saw of it, even before NBC left the air, I thought, geez, that looks like it just flicked off just the very littlest bit of his hand.
Oh, my gosh.
Might have been an optical illusion, but it was so close.
To lose like that would have been incredible.
Yes. And
that's like the Denver game a little bit.
Yeah. And, I don't want to say, too typical, but we've got our share of these heartbreaking, I can't believe they found a way to lose that game of the year type games. And so if that had happened, oh my gosh, right? I mean, it'd just we'd be on fire over here.
Allen's now beaten the Ravens twice in his career, kneeling out the last series to set up the winning field goal. He did that in a game in Baltimore a few years ago also. Yeah, I mean, it's a great win. It's an incredible start to the season, almost unbelievable what that game was. I think you can and I'll want to talk about like what went wrong for them in that game. Like I don't want to put it as like if the end doesn't happen, because the end happened. Like that isn't to be like sort of disregarded. But for most of this game, you say like you were thinking about what you might want to talk about. What would that have been? Like defensive, there were already questions, but this opponent is the wrong opponent if you're sort of not all the way where you want to be defensively. The receivers, Coleman ends up, one of their touchdowns late was Coleman. He ends up with a big night, and that's a great sign for them. And there was a lot of talk about whether that was going to be coming this year, and that's off to a great start. Did we have that with 5 minutes to go?
No, I think
really.
Almost all of that. I think he only had one catch prior to the fourth quarter. I think he had 11 targets in the game, and 10 of them, I believe, were in the fourth quarter. So,
that's crazy.
I mean, that really popped there.
Allen threw for 251 in the fourth alone.
Right. And scored 2 rushing touchdowns if you want it. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah.
It's like almost a player of the week performance in the fourth quarter.
One quarter.
But yeah, Coleman, when we talked about everything, obviously, for months, but even in the week leading up to this game, about a number one emerging, like what happens with the receiving core, what do they really have there? And when we talked about Coleman, I think it was like, if we could just get like a 7 for 120 and 1, like that would feel really good. That'd be a really positive sign, and yet we got pretty close.
That was it almost exactly.
It took until the very end of the game for it to happen, but he got there. So that's encouraging. The fact that Allen was going to him with the game on the line like that might be the most notable thing about it. I mean, the most notable thing about it is that he came through and made these plays, and together that hookup worked. But the fact that Allen is targeting him 10 times in that quarter when they're trying to mount that comeback, I think is encouraging for Coleman's emergence.
They're just, I know that this is putting it very simply, but they're just so tough to beat. I used to talk about Serena Williams when she was in her prime, and a lot of, great rivals and, major championships. I was watching tennis then. I'm really not anymore. It's a big deal in our house. And so we'd watch all these slams, and there's Serena Williams. And there were lots of times when one of her many great rivals looked like they had her, and you could fall for it. Like in wrestling, in wrestling, there's probably going to be some dramatic twist at the end. In tennis or in football, you just don't know that. So lots of times she was on the ropes, but they couldn't beat her. When it was a big one, she would figure out a way to do it. And that's these guys. Yes, there are a handful of games that were amazing that they didn't win, and they still have the playoff hurdle, and that doesn't change at all yesterday or today, except for that maybe Baltimore's reputation is just that much more enhanced by losing this game. Sort of takes you back to the playoffs and brings up their failures. But that's Baltimore. This team, their last home loss is that Denver game with Ken Dorsey was calling plays. They're just so tough to beat. Think about last year. They lose 4 games. The Ravens pretty much clobbered them. And the Bills have only a couple of those. When they lose, it's usually close. So they've only had a couple of those through the years. The Texans game was kind of a fluke. They were in pretty good shape in that game. Even though they couldn't do anything, they still just had a 60-yard field goal, and just a couple of things went wrong. It's the Rams.
That was almost a game of the year candidate.
Yes, 44-42
right.
is the Rams score. They give up a block punt touchdown, but really are unstoppable and still lose that game. And then it's Kansas City in the playoffs, which doesn't get much closer than that. They're just so tough to beat. And they don't have comebacks, though, really. They don't have a lot of these where Allen isn't John Elway for having the reputation of they're a couple, but still,
right.
This one is different in that way. They're just so tough to beat. Well, I don't know. I wasn't thinking about the show so much before the game was over, but when it was over, I was up for 2 hours. I wrote down one thing. If this team does not win the Super Bowl, it's criminal. That might be an overstatement, but how does a team, either of these teams, it's a worse loss than it is a great win. You can't lose a game where you're up
15 with 4 minutes to go.
They even had the ball with the 15-point lead in the fourth quarter and went 3 and out.
Right.
So, wow. Both these teams, you could say that. They could say that about themselves. How can we not? Fans are the ones to say it. How can they not win? That's what last night left me with. Just sky's the limit.
Yep.
New season, Kansas City, not great. Who's even tomorrow's power rankings? Who's even number 3? It could be the Chiefs because it's the Chiefs and it's one game. But Cincinnati had 7 yards in the second half against Cleveland. That's not their defense.
7
That's their
yards.
offense.
Yeah.
And they were super lucky to win on a couple of missed kicks. Denver was terrible in their game, but Tennessee was worse.
Right.
Chargers? I don't know.
I'm not going to be inclined to elevate Indianapolis. Off of what they did to Miami.
That happened fast.
It really did.
It's not Miami. They could be 16 tomorrow in that thing. Yeah. They might be. So, all year, right? You're talking about how we spent our summer. You still got to wait until January, but you've got the Chiefs and you've got the Ravens, and then maybe you have Cincinnati, maybe you have Houston. How about Houston? 9 points. Terrible.
Yep.
Dysfunctional on offense. Everybody's kind of terrible right now, except these two. And you beat them. So you've got a game and a half on Baltimore.
Yep.
Because of that, if it comes to that.
Well, that's
huge.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. As the weekend, I mean, really by Friday night, once Kansas City lost. Yeah, I think I know how. Most of the week, I think I sounded like I'm bracing for, a downer of a. Baltimore poured a lot into it. It's a long season. You even asked at one point last week, who's it worse? Who's a worse loss? Whoever loses, who's it worse for? And I said Baltimore, even though they're on the road, because they seem like they're pouring everything into this. They want revenge and all this, and it was going so great, but. Man, you get the opportunity with the Chiefs losing. Yes, there are other teams in the conference who are 1-0, but really the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills still, to me, are the top three teams in the conference. And to have an opportunity to put the other two both in the same hole, it's not a deep hole, but it's a hole. You have a leg up on them, and you're in pole position. It might take a lot. If it were an F1 race, you got the lead into the first corner, and maybe that's all you need. As long as you don't, as long as your lug nuts don't come off, you're going to maybe have a pretty good drive. And I don't think the Bills are going to have an easy drive to the 1 seed, but to be ahead of those two teams and with a head-to-head tiebreaker already on one of them was a great opportunity this early in the season. And it sort of amped up the anxiety going into the game for me.